possible. Chapter 1. The city's organic grid structure. Urban planners have designed the city using an organic grid structure. This layout doesn't follow strict lines, but instead mimics the patterns found in nature, like the branching of trees or the flow of rivers. The streets, pathways, and districts are arranged in curves and clusters, allowing the city to feel more fluid and connected to the landscape. This grid also makes it easier for people to navigate, as it feels natural and intuitive, flowing with the land. Instead of straight blocks and right-angled intersections, our city's pathways curve around hills, through forests, and along rivers, forming a layout that feels like a natural part of the environment. Chapter 2. Zoning based on topography. The physical layout of the city is built to respect the natural topography of the area. Urban planners have carefully zoned different sections of the city based on the natural features of the land. Elevated areas are reserved for residential zones, offering stunning views and natural light. Low-lying areas close to water are designed for communal spaces like parks and recreational areas, ensuring that nature remains close to where people live and work. Housing areas are built on slopes or plateaus, offering a connection to the sky and horizon, while the lower parts of the city are filled with forests and parks, making use of natural valleys. Chapter 3. Nature-centered districts. Each district in the city is centered around a natural feature, such as a park, forest, or water body. Urban planners have created a network of districts where every area is designed to have a green core that defines the community. These natural hubs not only serve as focal points for the districts, but also influence how the buildings, roads, and infrastructure are laid out around them. For example, a district might be arranged around a central lake with homes, offices, and transport systems built in concentric circles, gradually expanding outward from the natural center. Chapter 4. Elevated and sunken zones for multi-use space. The city's design features both elevated and sunken zones. Elevated platforms are designated for activities like transport or walking, while the lower areas are reserved for natural spaces or hidden infrastructure. This layering creates more space for both people and nature, enabling a dense yet breathable urban environment where technology and green spaces coexist. For instance, walkways that rise above ground level offer scenic views of green spaces below, while the lower zones, filled with trees and gardens, remain undisturbed for nature to flourish. Chapter 5. Fluid boundaries between urban and natural zones. Urban planning in this city ensures that there are no hard boundaries between urban areas and natural landscapes. Instead, the edges of the city blend smoothly with the surrounding environment. Forests, rivers, and fields gradually merge with residential and commercial areas, creating a continuous flow between human activity and natural ecosystems. For example, the transition from a bustling commercial center to a quiet forest feels seamless, with streets gradually becoming narrower and lined with more trees until you are fully immersed in nature. Chapter 6. The city's layout is designed to support micro-communities, each centered around a distinct natural feature, whether a small park or a grove of trees, or a riverbank. These clusters are designed for walkability, where daily life happens within a short distance of natural elements. The arrangement of buildings and infrastructure is closely tied to these micro-nature spaces, encouraging a more intimate relationship between residents and their surroundings. For example, a neighborhood might be arranged around a small wooded area, where homes are positioned to allow residents direct access to nature without leaving their community. Chapter 7. Urban planning has organized the transportation system into layers that avoid disrupting the city's natural beauty. Below ground, high-speed autonomous vehicles and trains move people efficiently across long distances. Above ground, the city prioritizes walking and biking paths that connect natural spaces with residential and commercial zones. By layering transportation, planners have ensured that the flow of people never disturbs the greenery that covers much of the city. For example, residents can take an underground transit system to travel across the city, then emerge in a park-like plaza ready to walk or bike the last stretch to their destination. Chapter 8. Adaptive building placement. Buildings in the city are not placed at random. Their locations are carefully chosen based on how they interact with natural features like sunlight, wind patterns, and water sources. Urban planners have used technology to map the best locations for buildings, ensuring that they are placed in ways that minimize environmental impact while maximizing comfort for residents. This strategic placement also ensures that green spaces get plenty of sunlight and water, contributing to a healthier ecosystem. For example, residential towers are positioned to allow the maximum amount of sunlight into public parks, and wind flow is directed through narrow streets to cool the city naturally. Chapter 9. Expansive green belts encircling urban centers. At the edge of each major urban center, urban planners have designed expansive green belts that separate districts. These green belts serve as natural buffers, providing both recreational spaces and essential ecological functions. They prevent urban sprawl and ensure that each part of the city stays closely tied to natural elements. These belts also help with air purification and cooling, thanks to their wide plant coverage. For example, between one district and the next, there's always a stretch of forest or parkland, providing a natural pause in the city's flow and keeping urban areas contained and focused. Chapter 10. Natural water management systems. Water is an essential part of the city's layout, and urban planners have incorporated natural water management systems that are both functional and beautiful. Rivers, lakes, and ponds are designed not just as scenic features, but also as systems to collect and manage rainwater. These natural reservoirs help prevent flooding and store water for dry seasons, making the city self-sufficient when it comes to water management. The physical layout directs rainwater through channels and green spaces, ensuring it is absorbed and filtered naturally. For example, public plazas and parks are designed with small streams and ponds that serve both as calming spaces for relaxation and as water collection points during rainfall. In this future city, urban planning goes beyond just organizing space. It creates a physical layout where technology and nature coexist in harmony. The city flows with the land, respects its natural topography, and uses advanced planning techniques to make sure that buildings, transport, and infrastructure fit into the environment rather than overpower it. This is urban planning for the future, where technology serves to enhance the natural world, not compete with it.